Hey YouTube, just wanted to do a quick little video, very controversial idea that I had that I wanted to kind of run by everybody and kind of let you know what I found so far. So in terms of Chinese made wheel spacers, right? Very controversial. Obviously, we're concerned about safety and the standards that that are met, and this is a big deal when it comes to wheel spacers. Usually, obviously I would go with American made as much as possible, but at, oftentimes 4 or 5 times the cost, makes you wonder. Now, I've gone through as an amateur kind of mechanic, do-it-yourselfer, many Chinese made products that have really been junk. And I had previously never considered wheel spacers made from China until I came across this little bit of information. I was going to Advanced Auto, changing out some calipers and some name brand ones, and realized, gosh, these are made in China too. And maybe, I shouldn't trust them, but, I did, and I have, and they've been okay. So it got me thinking, geez, I wonder if wheel spacers would be okay if they're made from China, if I vetted them correctly. So I came across this company, KSP, and started to do a deep dive in the research and found that one very interesting thing is in the grade of the bolt and the steel of that. So a lot of times, that's where the cost savings are. It's either in the metal of the spacer itself. This spacer is aluminum, 6061 aircraft aluminum. And then the bolts themselves, the lugs and lug nuts, are actually made out of steel. And this is 10.9 grade, which was impressive because usually they're 8 point something on the cheaper ones. Also, fun fact, I came across the fact that the 12.9 grade that you would think hypothetically is better to run actually ends up being more brittle. And so what's actually ideal is this 10.9. Well, this company, KSB, happened to have made that for that reason. You can check their website. I was very impressed that they had mentioned that. Another interesting thing about KSP, and again, that last one was very impressive to me in the fact that they mentioned on their website that, that they chose it for that reason, to not make it too hard. It needs a little bit of flex in it before snapping. The other one is that in all the YouTube videos I've seen, people mention, and by the way, the packaging is very nice, but everybody mentions, oh, you want to retorque these. That's true. What most people do not mention or think about is the fact that you want to take your wheel off after 50 or 100 miles and then retorque these nuts that are going to your stock lugs. Few people really realize that or think about that. Now, this company, again, KSB, mentions that in their instructions. So I was kind of impressed that they were on top of that. Now, I reached out to them too, asking them some questions. What kinds of issues did they come across, customer returns or complaints? They were very communicative and honest with me right away. They said that they have had some customer complaints, but usually the complaints are fitment. People aren't really checking their fitment charts, or they're not realizing that they might need hub-centric lips and hub-centric spacers versus lug-centric. And sometimes they're not paying attention to what years or whatever. But another thing is thickness. They said a lot of people complain because they might have ordered an 1" versus an 1.5 inches, and they're not measuring their stock studs before. If you run into that, there's a couple of options. So number one is you can cut your existing stud if it's sticking out past your spacer, and if your wheels don't have what's called pockets on the inside to accommodate that. I'm not a big fan of that. So to me, I'm one of those like measure 5 times kind of person. This is going to go on a 2003 Toyota Sequoia, and those studs are 27 millimeters, and so are these. So it should be no problem. So I reached out to them. I said, I'd like to do a little review on this. They said, thank you for, they even said, thanks for not discriminating against us because they're Chinese made. Hopefully, give us the chance and, hopefully you'll be happy with the product. I'm going to do another video in which I install them, but wanted to kind of run through, maybe these are actually going to work well. They seem to be good. Obviously that doesn't mean much from an amateur looking at them, but I did bring them by, have somebody who knows about machine shop work and stuff, and said that the quality and the threads, everything seems very good. That person said they would actually have no problem running this. This is from a person who does kind of machine work and is around CNC machines and stuff like that. So again, I wanted to hit the points of the 10.9 grade steel, which seems to actually be better for these applications than the 12.9. And I was impressed that they mentioned that on their website, and I'm impressed that they mentioned to take the wheel off and retorque, these lugs that go on your or the nuts that go on your factory lugs. So far so good. I'm kind of thinking hats off to KSP so far. I will install them. Please consider subscribing and liking the channel to help it grow. I'd like to do more videos. I'd like to show long-term wear and tear on this, and as well as, the fitment issues, or not issues, but the fitment spacing of the 1 inch on the Sequoia, and in addition to that, maybe Tacoma that my son has as well. We'll consider that as well. So I hope that helps. Again, very controversial idea. I know that, again, it's been my policy as well. Don't go cheap and don't go with Chinese products. But after having, realized that Advanced Auto, I've been using some Chinese products on some of the brakes, that I've been doing. I'm rethinking, which sent me down this rabbit hole of like researching what is the quality, standards, what are we looking for? Sorry to be wordy. And one last thing, again, just me reaching out to them and asking them specific questions about how did they choose the factory? How did they vet them? What are their standards? What's the rationale in various things? I was really impressed. And as a person who communicates for a living and deals with people and interacts with people, those kind of answers really comforted me, and I'm giving them a shot. So hopefully you guys will stay tuned and we'll see how it goes. Thanks.